The most successful drink in human history was invented by a man trying to quit morphine. John Pemberton was an Atlanta pharmacist who took a saber to the chest at the Battle of Columbus in 1865. The wound healed. The morphine habit did not. So, in 1885, he built himself a cure. A syrup of coca leaf and cola nut sold as a nerve tonic, advertised as a treatment for exhaustion, headache, and morphine addiction. He called the improved version Coca-Cola. It went on sale on the 8th of May, 1886, at a pharmacy soda fountain, about 9 milligrams of cocaine to the glass. 3 years later, Pemberton sold his rights for $1,750 and died broke, still addicted, of stomach cancer. Every drink in this video is descended from that counter. Almost none of them survived. It is easy to forget that soda was not invented to be enjoyable. The American soda fountain was a pharmacy counter. The pharmacist owned the carbonation equipment, the pharmacist knew the chemistry, and what he sold you was a drug you happened to like the taste of. Moxie was marketed as a treatment for everything from paralysis to softening of the brain. Phosphates, the plainest, most ordinary drink at any counter in America, were mixed with actual phosphoric acid to give them their sour bite. And then there is the one that nobody believes. In 1929, a company launched a lemon lime soda under the name bib label lithiated lemon lime soda. The lithiated part was not a marketing invention. It contained lithium citrate, the mood stabilizer, the real one, still prescribed today for bipolar disorder. They shortened the name to 7-Up in 1936, and they kept the lithium in the bottle until the federal government banned it from soft drinks in 1948. By the 1960s, the medicine was gone, and what was left was the best part of the whole story. Every region of America had its own bottler and its own flavor, and the list of what you could actually buy is longer than anything on a shelf today. Nesbitt's Orange, thick and almost syrupy, sold at drive-ins across California. Bubble Up, a lemon lime with more bite than Sprite. Hires Root Beer, the oldest of all of them. Whistle, out of St. Louis, with an orange so bright it stained. Sun Crest, Cott, High Spot from Canada Dry, Cragmont, which you could only get at Safeway. Teem, which Pepsi launched in 1959 to go after 7-Up. Some of those names still mean something to somebody watching this. Not one of them is on a shelf in an American supermarket today. And the thing that killed most of them was not taste, and it was not competition. Because in 1958, a company did something nobody had tried before. Royal Crown put out a cola with no sugar in it at all called Diet Rite, and it was made for diabetics. Then somebody noticed that people who were not diabetic were buying it to be thin. What followed was one of the fastest gold rushes in the history of American food. In 1963 alone, Coca-Cola launched Tab, Pepsi launched Patio, and 7-Up launched a diet lemon lime called Like. 3 of the largest companies in the country in a single year, all chasing exactly the same idea. And all 3 of those drinks, along with Fresca and Diet Rite and very nearly every diet soda in America, were sweetened with the same chemical. It was called cyclamate. It was about 30 times sweeter than sugar, it was cheap, it had been on the market since 1951, and almost nobody had asked a hard question about it. The hard question finally got asked in a laboratory. Researchers fed rats a mixture of cyclamate and saccharin, and they found bladder tumors. On the 18th of October 1969, the Secretary of Health, Education and Welfare, Robert Finch, stood in front of the country and announced that cyclamate caused cancer in animals and that it was being pulled out of the American food supply. Understand what that actually meant on the Monday morning. This was not a warning label, and it was not the recall of one product. Cyclamate was in the soft drinks, the canned fruit, the salad dressing, the candy. The ban took full effect on the 1st of February 1970. Every diet soda in the United States became essentially overnight an illegal product. The companies had roughly 100 days to reinvent drinks that had taken them a decade to build. A few of them managed it. Most of the names in this video did not. Like went first. 7-Up could not make it work without cyclamate, so they took the name off the can entirely and reissued it as Diet 7-Up. Patio disappeared into Diet Pepsi and never came back. Coca-Cola spent years and a fortune building a citrus drink called Simba, test marketed in 1968, launched nationally in 1969, and dead by 1972. Teem held on until 1984 when Pepsi replaced it with Slice. High Spot was last advertised in America in December of 1976. Grapette was bought by its biggest rival and then discontinued on purpose, because the simplest way to beat a competitor is to own it and switch it off. And here is the part that almost nobody knows. Sprite and Fresca did not die. They were rebuilt. Both were reformulated after the ban, first onto saccharin and then Fresca onto aspartame in 1985. They are still sitting on the shelf, and they are not the same drink. If you remember the 1960s version, you cannot buy it. Nobody can. Which leaves one. Tab came out in 1963 with cyclamate in it, and when the ban hit, Coca-Cola rebuilt it on saccharin. Then, in the late 70s, the government came after saccharin as well, and for years, every single can of Tab carried a printed warning that it contained a chemical shown to cause cancer in laboratory animals. People drank it anyway. They drank it in enormous quantities. Tab was the best-selling diet cola in America through the 70s and into the 80s in that unmistakable pink can, and it kept a small, absolutely devoted following for decades after Diet Coke arrived and took everything away from it. It outlived Patio. It outlived Like. It outlived Simba and Teem and High Spot and every other name in this video. In December of 2020, Coca-Cola discontinued it. 57 years. And there is something worth sitting with in that. A syrup invented by a morphine addict at a pharmacy counter turned into a century and a half of American childhood. And the whole enormous, strange, chemical, wonderful thing is now mostly a set of names that only mean something to the people who were actually there.